Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Songs. We've got a very special program for you today. In the co-captain's chair, Lynne Versaci from the Hudson Valley Squares. Hello, Lynne. How are you tonight?
How are you? How's everybody?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Hopefully
Okay.
everybody else is doing good.
I hope everybody's doing good.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of a different twist on the top 10 song format for tonight. So Lynne and I have been talking for a couple of weeks about doing something like this. So instead of picking a specific band for a top 10 song show, we said, how about our favorite 10 tracks or our favorite 10 80s, 90s hard rock and heavy metal hits? So the caveat here is that the song had to have been played on the radio, released as a single, or had a MTV video that was in rotation. Okay, and we could draw from any song from the 80s or the 90s. And I got 10. I got a couple honorable mentions. I'm very curious to see what Lynne has picked out. So we'll start with our number 10, and we'll each ping pong back and forth till we make our way to number 1.
Okay.
And
all right.
Lynn's in the hot seat. You get to start us off here.
I'm in the hot seat. All right, in my hot seat. With number 10, it's not really 10. I didn't really order it, but it's like not my favorite to least or vice versa. But I have Ozzy Osbourne with Crazy Train. Okay, and you know what? I picked that because first of all, who doesn't love Ozzy? Who doesn't love Randy Rhoads, which we just celebrated his birthday the other day? And I remember back in the day, and again, all of my songs and music are based off MTV, right? Because that's the era I grew up in. Like, I want my MTV. It was all about MTV Headbangers Ball, MTV Hits, all that stuff. And you watch that Crazy Train video. It was all about his flying V, and then Randy's solo in that song is legendary. Everybody knows it. So that's my top 10 is Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the ones I looked at too. I at first when we were talking about doing this, I was like, this should be pretty easy because I've never been much of a hit guy. I always like all the deeper songs, kind of stuff. But then once I started putting my list together, I'm like, holy crap, there's like a million songs here. I'm like, how do you, so I was like, all right, I could easily go and pick like Judas Priest songs and Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and Ozzy and Dio and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I might do that a little bit, but I think I'm going to go just a little bit. I tried to go a little outside the box to maybe some bands that I don't always automatically go to, but I still love these songs. So my number 10 is going to be Wait by White Lion.
Wow, I would have never guessed that from you.
I know, right? But it is a great song, and I dig White Lion.
It is a great song.
I always like the video. It's just such a great song full of hooks and that amazing Vito Bratta guitar solo. And it's, I was tossed between that and When the Children Cry by White Lion because I love both of those, like pretty much.
Yeah.
But I decided, all right, I'll go with Wait because that's a song probably everybody knows. And it's just a really, really cool, really commercial. It's not metal by any means. It's just a good, like really accessible hard rock tune from that era. And I figured give White Lion a little bit of love here. So that's my number 10.
Yeah, we should. That was a good one. I was not expecting that from you, but he's also a really nice guy, Mike Tramp. He actually played the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York several times. And, I was fortunate enough to work there. So I get to talk to everyone that usually comes through, and he's a nice guy too. So I'm glad you gave him.
Let me ask you a question. So speaking of White Lion, speaking of the Chance, so back in, oh boy, what year was this? I'm going to say whatever year that album came out. When did Pride come out? Was that 87? Whatever. It doesn't really matter. So in 1980, I'm going to say it's 87. So in 87, I saw at the Chance White Lion with the opener was a band who became huge, but at the time they didn't even have a record contract. It was Skid Row. Were you at that show or were you a little too young?
I was at the show. I was not working there yet. Okay. I was too young to be working there. So I was at the show with my older sister. I was not that young. I was 17. I mean, I was there hanging out with my sister. She took me. She was fortunate enough to take me to all my concerts, my metal shows. My mom made her come with me.
There you go. That's a good mom.
She's not a metalhead. My sister.
No. That was a good show. Place was packed. And what was really weird about that is like 2 years before, I actually saw White Lion open up for Crocus at the Civic Center. And that was before White Lion had a record contract here in the States. And there you fast forward 2 years and they have a contract. They're all over MTV and the radio. They've got this big album. And here opening up for them was another band who unsigned, who would very soon after become really big and just completely
Yeah.
break out. So
Yeah.
be
And
good.
I like Crocus. I think Crocus was an underrated band. I don't know whatever happened to them.
Yeah, I think they're still around. I don't know. I haven't listened to them in a million years, but
No, me
that was a
neither. But
weird
they were
night
good at the
because
time.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they had those couple of like Headhunter was a really good album.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that night at the Civic Center, they actually recorded the video for Screaming in the Night. So it was really weird
Ooh.
because they played like an hour and then, the management came out on stage or whoever, and they were talking. It's like, okay, well, that's the end of the main show. And we were like, that's it, an hour? Like, we're going to record a music video tonight. So you're all welcome to hang out and be part of the music video. But it was like 2 hours later, right? People were just getting tired of waiting, so they left. So there was like maybe
My God.
100 people left in the Civic Center, myself among them. And they came out and they had Screaming in the Night pumping over the PA, and the band just kind of came out and just like lip
Air
sync.
jam. Yeah.
We were all in the front row going crazy, and everything. Like camera crews all over
That's
the place.
insane.
So it's pretty cool, right? So that was my
That
only
is,
time in a music video.
that's good. Good stuff. I now I'm gonna look for you in that music video.
Yeah, and there's two versions of the music video. There's one that's a whole weird storyline thing, and there's another that's like a performance video.
The
That one,
live version.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the one you got to look for.
Nice. I
It's in
love
like
it.
black and white and stuff. It's weird. Yeah,
I love it. That's awesome.
yeah. So your number 9 pick. What do you got?
My number 9 would be AC/DC. You Shook Me All Night Long. It's funny because back in the day, again, and I think they had a lot of hits off Back in Black. They did. That was not just a one, but that song, back in the I hung out. It was the 80s, 90s, early 90s. I hung out with a lot of dancers, a lot of strippers, and so I didn't dance with them. They were tall, beautiful, long legs. But we would go on the dance floor, all these rock and roll nights, and Let's Dance had their rock and roll night, and we would sing to that. So You Shook Me All Night Long. Anytime that came on, it was like, all right, all the girls to the dance floor and all the guys to the dance floor too, because they wanted to watch all the girls dance, But definitely number 9, AC/DC Shook Me All Night Long for that reason.
A staple, right? The absolute
Oh
staple.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it is. And plus, you couldn't really watch AC/DC without watching Angus. He's just cool to watch.
Yeah, no, he absolutely is. He's still a little kid. What is he, like 66 years old now? It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I still see
Whatever
him
he
in that
is, yeah.
schoolboy outfit.
All right, I had to throw some Van Halen on this list, and what Van Halen do you put on this list? Because they've had a lot of radio hits. They've had a lot of MTV videos and all that throughout the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, well, my favorite Van Halen stuff is those first couple of albums. But what I decided to pick was a song that was a huge radio hit that was on an album that was the first album with their new singer, Sammy Hagar. And it's just, to me, I think of to me, most of the Van Halen stuff, those are rock radio songs.
Yeah.
You can kind of call them hits, but I'm talking about a true blockbuster hit single for the band. And it's Dreams off the 5150 album.
Wow.
Which I think is an absolute terrific song. It's so catchy. And I think this is when Van Halen realized that, we can write pretty rock and pop tunes and make a lot of money and top the charts and be played all over the radio and all that kind of stuff. Not that they weren't on the radio before, because they were.
Before, yeah. It was
but I mean, that to me is Dreams is a bona fide hit single. And I always really dug that song a lot. And I remember when that album came out, that was like the soundtrack to that summer. What was that? 1985, I think it was.
Man,
you couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song or any other song off that album. And it's just always brings back memories of days long gone and all that kind of stuff, and being
carefree,
19 years old, and it's whatever. So it's pretty cool. So Dreams is my number 9 pick.
Nice. I love it. All right, so now we're down to number 8. So number 8, you know who you are? You're in the jungle, baby. So Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle. Again, you heard that song, you saw the video on MTV, and it was like, whoa, and it just kind of made you feel like you were going to a rock and roll venue. You'd play that on the radio, or you'd see it on MTV, or you'd hear the song on the radio and you go, oh my God, where am I? I'm in the jungle. To just kind of get you psyched, kind of, for me back then, I wouldn't say it was my anthem. It certainly wasn't my anthem, but it made you feel good. It kind of got you like, oh my God, this is mayhem and it's madness and it's rock and roll and it's just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And Slash, and Slash. Who
Slash is
doesn't like some
cool.
Slash? Yeah,
Slash
he's
is
cool.
cool. I mean, I've gone on record many times with my dislike for Guns N' Roses, but Slash is actually very cool. So
I know a lot of people that when I told them I was picking Guns N' Roses were a little annoyed with me. They're like, there's so many other bands you could choose. I'm like, I know, but these are my hits.
you got to go with what you like, right? You got to go with what you like.
Yeah.
All right, my number 8 is a band that I always really liked this song, but for whatever reason, back in the day, I just never bothered buying their records or really diving deep into their music at all, other than like a couple radio tunes. But I always really liked this, and ironically, it's a band that I've gotten into quite a bit in recent months. Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone by Cinderella.
Whoa, you are blowing me away here. Look, let me tell you why, because I thought, oh, me being a chick, like I didn't want to choose like all the 80s hair metal bands that were glammy kind
And
of.
that's exactly what I'm doing, right?
And I'm like, what? Like, I'm thinking like I wanted to choose like hard and heavy and like some of them with a crunch. You're like White Lion, Cinderella. And I'm like, whoa, you're blowing me away. But I agree. Cinderella's a great band.
It's a
Good
great
time.
song. It's a really good song. It's
Yeah.
a really cool, like kind of power ballad and all that. And what I just dig it. And I'm just I'm astounded like how much I'm getting into Cinderella these days. Cause like I said, I basically ignored them for decades. Other than like a song or two, I was like, oh, that's a great song. But yeah, I was actually, to be honest with you, back in the day when those bands were really popular, I was listening to Slayer and Metallica and Megadeth.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And the look of a lot of these bands really scared me off. But now it's like, I listen to Cinderella. I'm like, oh, they never should have gotten all dressed up like that on their first album, because it's really not what their music is about at all. They're just
I know. It probably turned off a lot of guys. It turned on a lot of girls though, but it probably turned off a lot of dudes. Yeah. That, and see, the hair is what I liked back then. Go figure.
Yeah.
So my number 7, and again, this is one of my favorite bands of all time, and they have tons and tons and tons of hits. And again, I wasn't really sure which one to pick, but I picking "Looks That Kill" from Motley Crue. And again, Dr. Feelgood was a great album right after. Got a little heavier crunch, but when I see "Looks That Kill" video, right? Remember, I don't know if you remember MTV when they played the "Looks That Kill." All those hot chicks that came out in their stiletto heels and their black leather and their lace. And I was like, oh my God, like, again, what chick didn't want to go out wearing that stuff and teasing their hair that high and having the look that kills, right? Like all the girls that were, in my circle were like, oh man, this is what we have to look like when we go out. But it made you feel good. Again, it's Motley Crue, it's Nikki Sixx, Tommy Lee, Mick Mars. And I think for a long time, people were like, Mick Mars, but he's a great guitar player. He really is, So that's my pick for number 7 is Motley Crue.
Well, I'll forgive you for your last 2 picks. That's okay, because probably.
Oh man, you don't like Motley Crue?
I don't like Motley Crue either. Yeah, Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and Poison are like 3 of my least favorite bands on the planet. So.
Wow. All right. Duly noted for next time.
Hey, but it's your pick, so it's okay.
I know.
All right. My number 7, "In My Dreams" from Dokken.
Yes.
I love Dokken. They have a lot of really great songs. And I was like, all right, which Dokken song? I knew I had to pick a Dokken song because I love them. And they had a lot of really good radio hits, I think. And that's probably my favorite. It's just so immediate. George Lynch's guitar work is amazing. It's a great solo. It's got a great hook. It's just a really great song from a really good album. And I listened to that a lot back in the day. So yeah, "In My Dreams," that's my pick.
Yeah. That's good stuff. I also love Tooth and Nail, anything from that.
Tooth and Nail is great. That's actually my favorite album of theirs.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite.
Lock and Key is great too. They're both really, really excellent.
Yeah. I know. I think I was 13 and I went to that concert with a girlfriend who's Butch's other best friend, Lisa. And we were at that concert with Butch at Orange County Speedway.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, they opened up for, was it 38 Special or was that Loverboy?
I don't remember who they opened up for because I was literally there just being a fangirl.
Yeah, I think it was 38 Special, but I don't remember.
It might have been. It
Yeah,
might have been.
it was one of the two of those shows because I remember the opener didn't really match with the headliner, but
Yeah.
and I remember Dokken were really, really good that day. I mean, I saw them so many times back in the day, but that was a good,
Yeah.
yep.
Good stuff. So my number 6, Ronnie James Dio with Holy Diver. Again, Dio's, one of my favorite singers of all time. And again, I don't know if this is my favorite Dio song. Like I said, it's really not my favorite Dio song. But of the 80s, again, you couldn't really go anywhere without hearing Holy Diver. It was the epitome of like the 80s, and then I found out that song actually is about Satan and his descent to hell. I read that somewhere. I don't know how true it is. I do know that Ronnie James Dio was a religious guy. And it's so funny because everyone's like, oh, metal fingers, right? And it really isn't. It's, the old Italian, is the Maloic, right? So his grandmother used to say, Ronnie, and she used to do this to him, give him the horns to make sure you don't have any, bad juju from anybody back in the day. And I think he just liked it and the horns stuck. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing. I'm Italian. I'm doing the horns. Nobody's going to get me. And Ronnie James Dio does it. Now it's all about metal.
Yep.
So, kind of makes you feel good.
It's funny if you watch him doing that, like especially like early in the Sabbath days, he did it in a different way than he did when he went solo. Because in the early days, he would just kind of like flick it out there, and then he just got really into it, when he went solo. So that became his trademark, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
Kind of an Italian thing. All right, more about Mr. Dio in a minute, but before we get there, number 6 for me is "Lay It Down" by Rat.
Oh my God. I love Rat. I'm so excited that you're picking all these hits.
Well, like I said, there's so many to choose from. I could have just done, my favorite Priest. The funny thing is, I probably enjoy some of these songs more than I enjoy, like "You Got Another Thing Coming" and "Breaking the Law." And I because I'm so tired of those songs.
Yeah.
But I think these are cooler because to me they're not as kind of played to death because I mean, like I said, I could have filled this up with Sabbath, Dio, Maiden, Priest, all the normal suspects, Metallica and all that. But I wanted to kind of give some love to some other stuff that I really dig quite a bit as well.
Nice. Yeah, I'm down with some Rat. I love Rat.
"Lay It Down" is great. That's a great riff. It's got tons of groove. It's easily my favorite Rat song. It's a lot of fun. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, they had a lot of fun songs like "Way Cool Junior."
Way Cool Junior is awesome. Yep.
I love that. Like it was just, I don't know. They were a lot of fun. I was
listening to what's the Dance Dance Dance. I was listening to that the other day.
Oh my God,
it's fun.
That's another hairbrush song. Like all this, you grab the hairbrush, start singing it like you were somebody. Actually, I just did that the other day. I still think I'm somebody.
There you go.
But speaking of a great showman, my number 5 is somebody who I met at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. And again, he has his space there. It's Lemmy Motorhead, and it's Ace of Spades from Motorhead. That again, you hear that song, and it just kind of makes your blood start pumping, makes you kind of boil, and it makes you want to be crazy for a moment or two.
That song was a staple of Headbangers Ball.
It really was a staple, but I think it was a staple of a lot of us. Again, you're going out and you're playing all these tunes and you're getting ready to go and you want to be psyched. And I think a lot of these tunes, we put them in Butch is going to get mad at me, but the cassette tape player that I had back in the day in my car, and you play them and you would just kind of get psyched and go out and you're teasing your hair and you're doing your hairspray, and these songs just got you pretty hyped. And it's funny because every time I go out to the Rainbow, probably twice a year down the Sunset Strip, just because I love it, I've been going there for years, but every time you go, instead of taking your picture with Lemmy, you're taking a picture with Lemmy's place, with his shrine that they have there for him, which is really cool too,
Yeah, it was good they did that. Yep.
Oh, it's really good. Really good they did that.
Very cool. I'm very happy you put Motorhead in your list. That's very cool. Your list is turning out heavier than mine. Go figure. Right?
Yeah. Listen, I even have my daughter. I took her to the Rainbow last year. She was, I think, 16. It's a restaurant, so she can get in and all that. But I made her take a picture with Lemmy. She was like, "Who is this guy?
Yeah, who's this Lemmy guy? I don't know. I'm just taking this. My mother wants me to take this damn picture. I don't know who."
Oh my God! The funniest thing is, so we're there having their famous pizza, whatever, hanging out, and who's there but Ron Jeremy? Oh. and a table of his people. My daughter, he's like going up to my kid when she goes to the bathroom. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Get the hell away from her." I'm like, "All right, now you have to like disinfect when we get back to the room."
I can just
It was
picture you there
funny.
talking to your daughter, and she's like, "Who was that? Oh, he was a famous porn star, right? What, that fat guy over there? What, you got to be that
Yeah,
fat
she
old
didn't
guy?"
understand it, but then when I showed her, she kind of got it. She was
Oh.
like, "Ew, why?" I'm like, "Well, you know, there was a reason.
Yeah, I
Wouldn't
guess,
be
right?
my reason, right? Like I wouldn't go there, but somebody did."
Many people did, I guess. Oh.
I know.
Oh, all right. Let's get our heads out of the gutter here. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
My
the
number
80s was
5.
about the gutter. You can't get your head out of the gutter.
I know, right? Ugh. How about a little Rainbow in the Dark by Mr. Ronnie James Dio?
Yes.
I also thought of doing Holy Diver, which is my favorite Dio solo song. But I decided to go Rainbow in the Dark because to me, Rainbow in the Dark is his quintessential like radio, FM rock radio hit and MTV thing. I mean, they both were played quite a bit, but for me, Rainbow in the Dark, that was the first single. That was his biggest hit ever, right? And it's just everybody loves Rainbow in the Dark, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I prefer Holy Diver just by a little bit, but Rainbow in the Dark is just great. It's so catchy. It's got one of Vivian's tastiest guitar solos ever. The video
Viv,
is so hokey, but who cares? We love it anyway. In fact, most of
yeah.
Dio's videos were pretty bad. They were really like cheesy, but whatever. It's Ronnie. We love him, right?
We love him and we love Viv. We love
Yeah,
Viv.
exactly. So that's my number 5, Rainbow in the Dark.
Nice. So my number 4 is Whitesnake with Here I Go Again. Now, do you remember Tawny? Now, of course, you remember Tawny Katane on those cars
Yeah.
doing her thing. Like every girl wanted to be her, every guy wanted to bang her. Like I mean, seriously. Not. I mean, I know. All right, I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm a New Yorker, but she's beautiful. I mean, she was stunning. She was graceful. She was dating David Coverdale, and Here I Go Again. Like that was like when the guys, the facials mattered, right? He gave his eyes and he gave his looks when he was singing, and that's when the facials started to come out on all the '80s rockers, and she was there shaking that red hair and shaking her butt on those cars, and it was like, wow, this is so cool, like cars, rock and roll, long hair. It was the time.
Well, Whitesnake was on top of the world then, and
Amen.
what's
Amen.
funny is that those videos and those songs made Whitesnake like a super, super band. But it's funny because a lot of the early fans of the band started seeing all that stuff with the teased hair and 20
Yeah,
Katana.
and they dropped off.
What is
Yeah,
this? I want to hear the bluesy Whitesnake, none of this garbage. But actually, if you
it's all
strip
good.
away all that, all the visual stuff, and that's such a great album. It's one of my favorite
Yeah,
albums of all time. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah, Here I Go Again is a classic track. I mean, that
yeah,
doesn't get
yeah. I
much
love it.
better than that, right? I mean, I know we've all heard it a million times now, but
Amen.
it's still a great song. Still a great song.
For sure.
Well, we might be talking about Whitesnake in a couple of minutes. So
Uh-oh.
right now, my number 4. Here's a surprise for you, and I love this song, "Heaven Tonight" by Yngwie Malmsteen.
Ooh, oh, okay. Didn't see that coming either.
I love that album. I always thought Joe Lynn Turner and Yngwie made a perfect match together. That
Agreed.
album is chock full of great tunes, and Heaven Tonight should have been a huge, huge hit for him. Like I said, it was played on the radio a little bit. The MTV video did fairly well, and that probably became his most like kind of radio friendly song. But it's so good, it's so catchy. I always loved it. Always loved it.
Yeah, and I love Jolyn Turner too. I do. I
And
love.
Joe sounded great on that album.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I did.
those two egos, meh, that was
Oh, I know.
that was never
Oh,
gonna work.
listen, I worked for Ingve several times, being a runner over the last whatever years. I've been a runner, 30 years, say, on and off at different venues. And I've worked for him several times. And yeah, his ego is well,
It's up there. It's up there.
a little bit, a
Yeah.
little bit.
But the guy can play, right? He's a star.
He can play. He can play well. Yeah, he's the arpeggio king. Some people love that. It's good. I don't think he's the greatest of all time. It's not he's great. He's great at what he does. I'm not going to discount that, but he's again, not my favorite. Like I'd take Schenker over him any day, for me. But
Well, I mean, I would too. I love Ingve, but Schenker's, I mean, that's,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But Heaven Tonight is a great song. And I think that's, you
yeah, yeah,
get,
it is.
he's got here, and I think that's what he's been missing a lot of his career, is
Yeah,
to hook up with a singer who's great at writing songs,
yeah,
melodies, and lyrics. And that whole album is chock full of everything that Joe Lynn Turner does so well. And I thought they worked so well together, but obviously it didn't last. But I love
yeah.
Heaven Tonight. That's a absolute gem of this.
Nice, good one.
That's my number
Definitely a
4.
good one. So here's one from a gentleman who you just interviewed, right? I chose Judas Priest and you just interviewed Rob Halford, which was a dream of mine. So you stole it. No, I'm actually pretty jealous. It was an amazing interview. I think I'm so happy that I know you. You interviewed him. One of my favorite of all time singers. But you got another thing coming, right? I mean, that for me was a staple of Priest in the 80s, right? It's not my favorite Priest tune. Like I would have chose like Dreamer Deceiver from Sad Wings, or like maybe Green Manalishi or Victim of Changes. Like I like those things. I like the nice Painkiller with the drums heavy in there. But for the 80s, I'm gonna go with You Got Another Thing Coming, because that was again a staple of the 80s.
It was. I mean, they had their handful of big tune. I mean, that and Turbo Lover, right? And then like I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
Breaking the Law, and those were really big. I'm totally with you though. When it comes to Priest, I tend to shy away from those big hits. I mean, they're fun for what they are, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love the heavier,
yeah.
like deeper cuts when it comes to Priest.
Amen.
But everybody loves
Desert
those.
Plains.
Yeah, Desert Plains is great too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Love all that. So who's
All
your
right,
number 3?
my number 3. Stone Cold by Rainbow.
Okay. It's a great tune.
I had
Again, a great video.
it's really cool video, right?
Yeah.
And that was
Great
like
video.
WPDH and Poughkeepsie played that quite a bit back in the day when that album first came out.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah, I think
realized I
that's
did
when I
2
fell in
Joe Lynn
love with
Turner
Joe.
songs in a row. I didn't even realize. I
Yeah.
did not plan that. That's weird.
Yeah, and I think that video is when I fell in love with Joe Lynn Turner. Again, he did the quick head turns, looking at the camera with those eyes. It was like, whoa, who's that guy? So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good
I love
catchy
it.
song. I mean, that's Richie Blackmore wanting to kind of do like a foreigner type of thing, and Joe was the perfect
Yeah,
singer for that. And it has a great guitar solo, really catchy song. So I always like that quite a bit. So that's my number 3.
nice, good one. Who is on your shirt?
Jimmy Page,
Oh, I see. I have bad eyes.
double
It's
neck
a good shirt.
guitar.
Nice. I should have known. I'm fired. Um, on a side note, my number 2, right? So I love this band. We talked about him on the show a couple times. Is Iron Maiden, and I chose Run to the Hills. It's again not my favorite Maiden tune, but the galloping bass line, which is Steve Harris is noted for, right? It's just again another staple of the 80s, right? So for me, I chose Run to the Hills. I would have chose a million other songs to be my favorite, but for the 80s, those were the times, and I played that song. I think I played it probably too many times. But again, it got you psyched, and it's what they were known for back then.
Yeah, I mean, I still love Run to the Hills, and I'd read, out of their couple of, I mean, Maiden was not a big hit band, but they had a
Yeah,
few songs that were, had videos and were played on the radio. I would much rather hear Run to the Hills in 22 than 2 Minutes to Midnight. Like 2 Minutes to
yeah,
Midnight,
oh
I'm
yeah,
like done with.
oh
Uh,
yeah, hands down, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
but yeah, Run to the Hills. I mean, that's a staple. That was probably, if you had started becoming a fan of Maiden with like the first 2 or 3 albums, that was their really big early song.
Yeah, then you'd have to go back, then you'd
Yeah.
have to backtrack a little
Yep.
to
Yep.
hear the other stuff for sure.
All right, so I had to include a Scorpions song in this list because Scorpions were a favorite of mine throughout the '80s, and
Yeah,
they had a number of pretty popular songs. But when it comes down to it, I had to go with their ultimate party song, "Rock You Like a Hurricane."
nice.
Had to be on this list. Had to be on this
Yeah,
list.
yeah. No, and hey, who doesn't love the Scorpions?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Klaus. I mean, how do you not love him?
yeah. Yeah, I
I
mean,
love this.
it's not my favorite Scorpion song. I prefer the Uli John Roth stuff, the '70s material. But I think
Yeah,
like I was thinking Blackout and No One Like You. That was a really big. But then when
yeah,
it comes down to it, man, Rocky Like a Hurricane is such a perfect like kind of party metal song, and it's got great
It's a
guitar
good
work.
tune.
Klaus sounds great. It's so catchy. It's rocking. That's good.
Good stuff. I always get excited when I listen to Sirius XM and Holiday comes on.
Yeah, Holiday's great.
Love that song.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah, I'm a huge Scorpions fan. Definitely, for sure. So my number one of all time, not of all time. Well, it is my number one of all time.
I know what it's gonna be.
I know you know what it's gonna be. Why don't you tell me what it is?
Jet City Woman by Queensryche.
There you go. I know. I'm cracking up because everybody that knows me knows that, right? It's my song, it's my anthem. I can't tell you how many times a day, and this is no joke, every single day, somebody shoots a picture of their car with Jet City Woman on Sirius XM and texts me every day, thinking of you, thinking of you, thinking of you. Like, yeah, it's my anthem. How could I not have had that as my number one tune?
Because I think at least once a week, there's Lynn posts a picture on Facebook of her in her car taking a picture of Sirius, and there's Jet City Woman. Because
it's my song, it's my anthem, you can't listen to that song and not think of me. Can't do it. Can't do it. I mean, for people that know me, you can't do it. If you hear Jet City Woman, you're gonna think of that crazy Lynn girl.
There you go. Yep.
But I tell you, I know you had a couple of honorable mentions, and I did have some. And again, they were Master of Puppets by Metallica. We're Not Gonna Take It, Twisted Sister, because again, they were a staple. Slayer, Raining Blood, even though I don't even think it was a hit, just because I loved it. And The Cult, Firewoman.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, I love The Cult. I love Firewoman. Good tune. Makes you feel good, all that stuff. But that's my list.
Do you have
I'm dying to hear.
Do you have any idea what my number one is?
I don't, and I'm
well,
dying.
Remember back in our conversation, we were talking, but when you were listing
Whitesnake.
Any idea which song?
Oh man, I do not know.
Well, it's not. Is This Love? I can tell you right now, it's not.
No, I know it's not. Is This Love? I know it's no. I don't know. I really can't even. I don't know what you.
Not either. Wolf Owl Honey.
Oh,
around your door. Still,
yes.
Is one of my favorite all-time songs.
Yes.
I love Still.
Good one. That's a great tune. That is a great tune.
Yeah.
And again, what you put any of these songs on the radio, and right, when I make posts on social media and stuff like that, the one thing I'm always talking about is music and how it makes you feel good. I mean, you put any of these songs on, I dare you to be in a bad mood. It's not going to happen. Your bad mood's going to go away quite quickly.
Well,
you can't
feel good stuff. It's feel good music. Music is supposed to do to you.
It's really feel good stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's even some of the 80s sappy tunes were feel good stuff. It all makes you feel good. So
yep.
I'm honored that you asked me to be a part of this segment. I'm thankful to relive and go back into some, nostalgic moments there and share this moment with you, sir.
Cool. All right, I got a couple honorable mentions before we go.
Yeah.
Pull Me Under by Dream Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Back in Black by AC/DC. What else here? Limelight by Rush. And that actually, I should have put that in my top 10 because I love Limelight quite a bit. And I wanted to do a couple of tracks that I really dig from the 90s, from the grunge bands. I love Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden and Rooster by Alice in Chains.
Okay.
A great song.
Yeah, those are good tunes. And you know what? Chris Cornell, I can't.
Quite the voice, right?
Yeah. Saw him at the Bardavon in Poughkeepsie when he did the acoustic show. Phenomenal.
Yeah, I never got to see him live.
Probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. And he, like I said, he was by himself on the stage, acoustic. And I was pretty close. So it was even more like, oh my God, it was a great night.
That's cool.
But good songs. You chose some good ones. You shocked me, Peter Pardo.
Thank you. I tried.
That's not easy to do. You shocked me.
I tried to mix it up a little bit. I wanted to make it fun, and like I said, I dig all these songs. So it's
now I have Kiss on my head. Shock me. I got the nose. Everything's a song with me. I can't. I have issues from morning till night. Everything is a song. Everything's about music.
Nothing wrong.
It's in my veins. No matter what I do, I can't stop.
Yeah, it's better being that way than dealing with a lot of the stuff that's going on out there. So
I don't want to know about it.
Nothing wrong with it.
I'll stick with the music.
There we go. So there you have it, everybody. We got some favorite hits of the heavy metal and hard rock hits of the 80s and 90s from Lynn and myself. Please post some of yours in the comments below. We'll be checking that out and seeing what you guys pick. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just songs we love, songs we remember hearing on the radio, playing in our cars, watching on MTV, all that kind of stuff. The fun days of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So stay tuned. You'll be seeing Lynn again very soon this coming Monday night with the rest of the Hudson Valley Squares. We've got a great show coming up Monday night. Monday night is all of Monday's game nights. So I have not given any topic to the Hudson Valley Squares. I said, just come with an open mind, and it's going to be me slinging out questions to everybody for an hour. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do an actual kind of like game show type thing. So it'll be fun.
Nice.
So stay tuned for that and lots more coming up on the channel. For Lynne Versaci, I am Pete Pardo. Have a good night, everybody.
See you later.